to get over this leprosy? Is it ever possible? Then he says, well, you spread your mattress in front of your widowed wife. See, there was another lady staying near the palace, her sister-in-law. She had become a widow. And the Guru said, you spread your mattress in front of her house, don't enter into her home, just at the threshold outside, visible to the people. And he was shocked. How is it possible? But you should do it. And do it for 15 days, he said. So he has to obey, otherwise he can't get rid of this leprosy. So he spread his bread there and began to lay down. Evening time, people used to walk on the streets. They would see why this king is laying down in front of the sister-in-law, widowed sister-in-law, on the threshold. Is he so lusty? Then he began to make comment. Because whole night he has to stay there only. So because he was king, people used to whisper. Because the king was not showing any reaction, so then they began to talk loudly. And they talked so loudly, they began to criticize him left and right, and they even went to the extent of spitting on him. But he has to keep quiet, he should not react. That was the instruction from the teacher. He tolerated. Then he went back to Vasishtha Maharishi and reported everything. Then the teacher said, well, look at your body now. There was no leprosy. He was astonished. How could that happen? Then Vasishtha Maharishi explained, look, you had that leprosy because of the impurities of the mind. Now, all those people who were criticizing you every day for 15 days, they have taken all these impurities. So you have saved from getting attack of leprosy in your future births also. You have prevented. Otherwise you would have to have this leprosy for 2-3 more births. Then he was awakened. What terrible effect it will have. So that's the story. The meaning is, whether do it knowingly or unknowingly, the effect will be there. A child, he does not know anything about the fire. It goes and touches the fire. Do you mean the fire will not keep burning? Will prevent from burning? It gets hurt. The meaning is, whether you know it or whether you don't know it, the effect will be there. So knowingly or unknowingly if you criticize, you will have the effect. Don't forget that. So as a spiritual aspirant, stop finding fault with anybody. The first fundamental teaching to proceed onwards in spiritual life. So it's not your portfolio to find fault with others. So, on account of various factors, the mind has got so many bad thoughts and good thoughts. They do come. You can't get over them. They come, they play their part and go. But how to deal with them? One way of dealing is, don't give any attention, they come to go. If you give attention, they come and stay and give you more trouble. That's the way. But you must have the courage to ignore them. Bad thoughts do come. Everybody says, Swami, bad thoughts come. Good. That's indication that you have become aware of the bad thoughts. Previously you were not aware of that even. Now you have become aware. So, the spiritual teachers have told us, evil thoughts are to be driven away by good thoughts. replace them with good thoughts. By reading spiritual texts, by remembering God, by thinking about the goodness of others. In so many ways, you can engage your mind in a healthy manner. Engaging the mind in a healthy way is very important. Very, very important. So always to keep in mind that Lord bestows His grace who keeps on doing good actions. And then desires. The desires are the culprits. They cause us misery, unpleasantness and sufferings. Here again, there are two kinds of desires, good desires and bad desires. That desires which tightens the bonds of ignorance is evil, that which loosens the bond is good. So that means you must be constantly watching what is good and what is evil, what is shreyas and what is preyas, what is good and pleasant. Pleasant, it looks very attracting, tempting, but the end result is bad. And the good, though in the beginning is very unpleasant, but in the end result will be very good. For example, doing prayers, meditation, to begin with it is very difficult. But you keep consistently, you persistently keep practicing it, then the end result will be, you will be endowed with pure devotion. With whatever evil tendencies one may come, one is sure to improve in holy company. As when you go to an auto shop, the scent will enter your nostrils whether you will it or not. Attachment and aversion are the root of all evil. Hence the injunction to relinquish them. For free of them one can do with impunity whatever one likes. The seed is easily destroyed, but when it has germinated and grown into a big, strong tree, it requires great strength and effort to cut it down. So we must crush our desires in their early undeveloped stages. Yogis can do this. They keep down undesirable thoughts in the germ state by smothering them beneath thoughts of an opposition nature. Thus they conquer all evil tendencies. Hatred with love, anger with kindness, and so on. A quarrelsome person constantly finds something to quarrel about. A peaceful person finds no one to quarrel with. I find so many people here with fixed notions. They have one set idea that colors everything. They cannot get away from it. Everything is explained according to that one idea. Swami Chidananda used to say like that. Some persons always want to argue. They often have little brain, cannot see a point, still they must argue. Then there are oversensitive persons. They are always on the defensive. Whatever general statement you make, they take as being directed towards them, to attack them. All these are causes for evil. But the evil is not in the world, it is in the persons. It is all a matter of misunderstanding. If you understand each other better, there would be less evil. To the question, why is there so much evil in the world? Saint Tulsidas said, to the good, the world is full of good, but to the bad, the world is full of evil. The world is neither good nor bad. What I call good, you perhaps call bad, and the reverse. What is the standard? The standard is in our own attitude towards life. Each one has his own standard. And with increased experience and insight, the standard changes. The pity is that we still recognize evil. When we become perfectly good ourselves, the whole world will appear good. We see only the reflection of our own minds. See the Lord always in everything, and you will see no evil. That's one way of doing things spiritual. Evil qualities pollute the mind of a person who searches for the lapses and shortcomings of others. He who has learned to discriminate can successfully overcome lust and greed. So cultivate your discrimination and conscience. How can you struggle against evil tendencies if your intellect is not trained to differentiate between good and evil? First clear out the rubbish which has entered the mind through the gates of the sense organs, and then put a no admittance sign in front of each gate. These bad thoughts which ignore the notice and still come on, you will have to hand over to the police, which is our conscience. With the help of the police, you must evict the impure tendencies from the mind and then install the Lord there. These are the words of Swami Abhedanandaji in his work, Adbhutanji. Adbhutanji has said in his teachings. It is by the power of habit that evil thoughts rise in the mind. Form a contrary habit by continued practice, and gradually the habit of evil thoughts may not arise in the mind at all. So we have to take steps. That's the point. To the question, how has evil come? The dualists say that all the good in man belongs to God and all the bad belongs to the man himself. The monists say that all belongs to God, both good and bad. In reality, all is God. It is he who actuates the evildoer as well as the saint. A man has sugar candy to sell in the shape of a mango or a bird or a dog. A little boy says to his father, "Please buy me that bird." He thinks it will taste sweeter than the mango or the dog. Whereas in reality, they are alike. In the same way, man looks at the world and calls this good and this bad. But as a matter of fact, it is all made out of the same substance. God has created both good and evil, but he is beyond both. He has created the two parties and set them warring against each other while he looks on as the witness. All this warring of good and bad, pleasure and pain is merely the play of God. This creation is his love. Every scripture has explained this. This creation is Leela Kshetra. It is the field of game. If evil thoughts appear, be indifferent to them. They come due to the impressions of previous lives, and it is good they have rise to the conscious plane. It will be easier for you to control them. To the question, frequently evil thoughts arise in my mind. How can I be saved from them? The answer is, one should drive them away resolutely. You have read in the Gita, the self is attained by continued practice of renunciation. There is no other way. Surrender yourself to the Lord, make him your own, and evil thoughts will pass away. It is absolutely necessary to make him your own. To those who earnestly call on God, worldly good and evil lose their distinction. Both are equal to them. To the question why there was so much evil in the world, how much evil have you seen at this younger age, at this young age? You had seen people steal, tell lies, beat others, etc. Whenever you see others do evil, tell yourself not to imitate them, but to learn from your observations. The vial that you see is meant to teach you not to do such things. That's what you have to learn. But do not take the evil path. It is desire that is the root of all evil, and no one else is at fault. Making compromises with evil leads only to self-deceit. You can satisfy your own self, but your higher self will cry out one day for a satisfactory explanation. And failure to provide that will lead to certain retribution. When the mind is overcome with evil thoughts, it becomes dejected and inactive like a mouse in the grip of a cat. But why should you suffer it to be like that? In situations like that, you should summon up with you the strength of a hero and shake off all evil thoughts. This is the only way out. It is no excuse to say that your mind is not under your control. Why should you let your mind take the upper hand? The Master was the living embodiment of purity. Contemplation of him or taking his name makes you free from all evil thoughts. The mind goes up on a higher plane. Never give way to evil thoughts. When they come, pray earnestly to the Master, meaning Sri Ramakrishna, and you will be rid of them. Chidananda said in the Gospel, none of the three gunas can reach truth. That is Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. They are like robbers who cannot come to a public place for fear of being arrested. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas are like so many robbers. Chidananda gives the example in the Gospel. Once a man was going through a forest when three robbers fell upon him and robbed him of all his possessions. One of the robbers said, "What's the use of keeping this man alive?" So saying, he was about to kill him with his sword. And the second robber interrupted him and said, "Oh no, what's the use of killing him? Tie him hand and foot and leave him there." The robbers bound his hands and feet and went away. After a while, the third robber returned and said to the man, "Oh, I am sorry. Are you hurt? I will release you from your bonds." After setting the man free, the thief said, "Come with me, I will take you to the public highway." After a long time, they reached the road. Then the robber said, "Follow this road. Over there is your house." At this the man said, "Sir, you have been so very good to me. Come with me to my house." "Oh no," the robber replied, "I can't go there. The police will kill me." This world itself is a forest. The three robbers prowling here are Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. It is they that rob a man of the knowledge of truth. Tamas wants to destroy him. Rajas binds him to the world, but Sattva rescues him from the clutches of Rajas and Tamas. Under the protection of Sattva, the man is rescued from anger, passion, and other evil effects of Tamas. Further, Sattva loosens the bonds of the world. But Sattva also is a robber. It cannot give him the ultimate knowledge of truth, though it shows him the road leading to the supreme movement of God. Setting him on the path, Sattva tells him, "Look yonder, there is your home." Your Sattva is far away from the knowledge of Brahman. That means, as long as we are under the grip of the gunas, we act according to them. So we have to go beyond the play of the gunas. We must aspire nothing but God. When that desire is accomplished, then certainly you will be able to overcome all the evil and really enjoy the peace and bliss. A devotee asked a question, "Sir, if a wicked man is about to do harm, or actually does so, should we keep quiet then?" Master said, "A man living in society should make a show of tamas to protect himself from evil-minded people. But he should not harm anybody in anticipation of harm likely to be done him. That revengeful attitude one shouldn't have. Revengeful attitude. That is the cause of all sufferings and miseries in the world." Then Sri Ramakrishna gives the parable of the snake. Some cowherd boys used to tend their cows in a meadow where a terrible poison snake lived. Everyone was on the alert for a fear of it. One day a brahmachari was going along the meadow. The boys ran to him and said, "Sir, please don't go that way. A venomous snake lives there." "What of it, my good children? I am not afraid of the snake. I know some mantras." So he continued on his way along the meadow. But the cowherd boys, being afraid, didn't accompany him. In the meantime, the snake moved swiftly towards him with upraised hood. As soon as it came near, this brahmachari recited a mantra, and the snake lay at his feet like an earthworm. The brahmachari said, "Look here, why do you go about doing harm? Come, I will give you a holy word. By repeating it, you will learn to love God. Ultimately, you will realize it, and so get rid of your violent nature." Saying this, he taught the snake a holy word and initiated him into spiritual life. The snake bowed before the teacher and said, "Reverend sir, how shall we practice spiritual discipline?" "Repeat the sacred word," said the teacher, "and do no harm to anybody." As he was about to depart, the brahmachari said, "I shall come and see you again." Some days passed. The cowherd boys noticed that the snake would not bite. Then they became a little bold. They began to throw stones at it. Still, the snake showed no anger. It behaved as if it were an earthworm. One day, one of the boys came close to it. He became so courageous to catch it by the tail and, whirling it round and round, dashed it again and again on the ground and threw it away. The snake vomited blood. It became unconscious. It was stunned. It could not move. So thinking it dead, the boys went their way. Late at night, the snake regained consciousness. Slowly and with great difficulty it dragged itself into the hole. Its bones were broken. It could scarcely move. Many days passed. The snake became a mere skeleton covered with skin. Now and then at night, it would come out in search of food. For fear of the boys, it would not leave its home during the day. Since receiving the sacred word from the teacher, it had given up doing harm to others. It maintained its life on dirt, leaves, or the fruit that dropped from the trees. About a year later, the brahmachari came that way again and asked after the snake. The cowherd boys told him that it was dead, but he could not believe them. He knew that the snake would not die before attaining the fruit of the holy word with which it had been initiated. He found his way to the place and, searching here and there, called it by the name he had given it. Hearing the teacher's voice, he came out of his hole and bowed before him with great reverence. "How are you?" asked the brahmachari. "I am well, sir," replied the snake. "Revered sir, you ordered me not to harm anybody, so I have been living only on leaves and fruit. Perhaps it has made me thinner." The snake had developed the quality of sattva. It could not be angry with anyone. It had totally forgotten that the cowherd boys had almost killed it. The Brahmachari said, it can't be mere want of food that has reduced you to this state. There must be some other reason. Think a little. Then the snake remembered that the boys had dashed it again and again on the ground. It said, yes, Reverend Sir, now I remember. The boys one day dashed me violently against the ground. They are ignorant after all. They didn't realize what a great change had come over my mind. How could they know I would not bite or harm anyone? Brahmachari exclaimed. He exclaimed, what a shame. You are such a fool. You don't know how to protect yourself. I asked you not to bite, but I didn't forbid you to hiss. Why didn't you scare them away by hissing? So here is the teaching. So you must hiss at wicked people. You must frighten them lest they should do you harm, but never inject your venom into them. One must not injure others. In this creation of God, there is a variety of things. Men, animals, trees, plants. Among the animals, some are good, some bad. There are ferocious animals like the tiger. Some trees bear fruit sweet as nectar, and others bear fruit that is poisonous. Likewise among human beings, there are good and the wicked, the holy and the unholy. There are some who are devoted to God and others who are attached to the world. Then the devotee asks this question, why is there so much suffering in the world? Chidananda said, this world is the will of God. It is like a game. In this game, there are joy and sorrow, virtue and vice, knowledge and ignorance, good and evil. The game cannot continue if sin and suffering are altogether eliminated from the creation. So he gives the example of hide and seek. In the game of hide and seek, one must trust the granny in order to be free. But the granny is never pleased. If she is trusted at the very outset, it is God's wish that the play should continue for some time. Then, out of 100,000 kites at best, but one or two break free. And thou dost laugh and clap thy hands, O mother, watching them. In other words, after the practice of hard spiritual discipline, one or two have the vision of God through His grace and are liberated. Then the Divine Mother claps her hands in joy and exclaims, bravo, there they go. Then the devotee said, Master, but this play of God is our death. Master said smilingly, please tell me who you are. God alone has become all this. Maya, the universe, living beings, and the 24 cosmic principles. As a snake I bite, and as a charmer I cure. It is God Himself who has become both Vidya and Avidya. He remains deluded by the Maya of Avidya, ignorance. Again, with the help of the Guru, he is cured by the Maya of Vidya, knowledge. Ignorance, knowledge, and perfect wisdom. The Jnani sees that God alone exists and is doer, that He creates, preserves, and destroys. The Vijnani sees that it is God who has become all this. So,